Everyone talks about Lawrenceville. Everyone talks about Squirrel Hill. And yeah, those are wonderful neighborhoods, but here's the thing that nobody tells you. The biggest opportunities for home buyers in Pittsburgh right now are not in the neighborhoods everyone already knows about. They are in the neighborhoods that are about to become the next Lawrenceville, the next East Liberty. And if you wait until everyone else figures that out, you're going to be paying a premium for something that you could have gotten a fraction of the cost today. So if you're thinking about buying a home in the Pittsburgh area, or if you're an investor looking for where the smart money is going in 2026, this video is going to change the way that you think about this city. Hi, I'm Diane McConaghy, your local Pittsburgh relocation and real estate guide. And today we're going to dive deep into 5 neighborhoods that are positioned for serious growth heading into 2026 and beyond. These are not random picks. I am in these neighborhoods all the time, walking properties, negotiating offers, watching which streets are getting renovated first and which blocks are still lagging. There's a difference. These are neighborhoods where real investment is happening right now, where infrastructure is being built, where housing is growing up, and where the numbers are starting to tell a story that most people have not yet caught on to. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly which neighborhoods to keep your eye on, what is driving their growth, and what that means for you, whether you're a first-time buyer, a relocator, or someone looking to make a smart long-term investment. If that sounds like the kind of information that you need, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and bell so that you don't miss a thing. Let's get into it. Let's start with the one that I think has the most upside right now, Garfield. I've been in real estate here in Pittsburgh for years, and I've watched neighborhoods go through transformation cycles over and over. And what I can tell you is this: when you see a neighborhood that sits right between 2 areas that have already taken off, and that neighborhood still has affordable entry points, pay attention. That is exactly what's happening in Garfield. Garfield sits right between Lawrenceville and East Liberty, 2 of the hottest neighborhoods in the entire city. According to Zillow, the average home value in central Lawrenceville is around $361,000. East Liberty sits right around $310,000. Garfield, according to Zillow, the average home value there is roughly $206,000. That's a significant gap, and that gap is the opportunity. I've shown properties in Garfield where buyers walked in unsure and walked out realizing they could actually afford something close to Lawrenceville without paying Lawrenceville prices. But it's not just about being sandwiched between popular neighborhoods. There's real investment happening here. According to Next Pittsburgh, new affordable housing projects from the City of Bridges Community Land Trust have brought brand new energy-efficient homes to the neighborhood. 3 new modular homes were constructed on Colombo Street in 2024 with listing prices around $197,000. Developers are also building modern townhomes along Penn Avenue corridor. And if you know anything about how Pittsburgh neighborhoods evolve, you know that Penn Avenue is the thread that connects so many of the city's most successful turnaround stories. Now, I want to be honest with you because that is what I'm here for. Garfield is not a finished project, and this is where strategy matters. Buying in a transitional neighborhood requires knowing which pockets are moving faster than others. That's not guesswork, that is pattern recognition. It's a neighborhood in transition. You'll see beautiful renovated homes right next to properties that still need some love. But this is exactly the point. According to Redfin, homes in Garfield have been selling with a median price of around $275,000 over the past 12 months, and that number has been climbing. For buyers who are willing to get in during the messy middle of the neighborhood's transformation, that's where the equity is built. And here's something most people overlook. Garfield has a walkability that surprises people. Penn Avenue is lined with restaurants, cafes, local shops, places like Spack Brothers for pizza, Soju for Korean fusion. You're minutes from Whole Foods, Target, and all of the restaurants that have made Lawrenceville and Bloomfield so popular. And you are just about 5 miles from downtown. If you're looking for a neighborhood where your dollar stretches further today, but where things are clearly heading in a very positive direction, Garfield deserves a serious look. Now let's head south because there's a neighborhood over in the South Hills that has quietly been building momentum, and a lot of people outside of Pittsburgh don't even know that it exists. I'm talking about Brookline. Brookline is one of the largest neighborhoods within the city of Pittsburgh with more than 13,000 residents. And what makes it so special is something that you don't find in a lot of city neighborhoods. It has its own walkable main street. If you grew up in a town where everyone showed up for parades, for school events, or Friday night games, Brookline will feel familiar in the best way possible. Brookline Boulevard is this vibrant commercial corridor lined with locally owned shops, restaurants, coffee spots, a beautiful Carnegie Library branch, and a real sense of community that feels like a small town drop right into the middle of the city. And here is what gets my attention from a real estate perspective. According to Redfin, the median sales price in Brookline over the past 12 months is around $231,000. According to Zillow, the average home value sits about $189,000. Now compare that to neighborhoods like Squirrel Hill North, where Zillow puts the average closer to $350,000, or Shadyside, where you're looking at well over $460,000. Brookline is giving you real home ownership at a price point that is genuinely accessible for first-time buyers and young families. In the commute, you're less than 15 minutes from downtown Pittsburgh through the Liberty tunnels. There's a bus service along Brookline Boulevard, and you're close to the Southern Light Rail system. So you get that close-in convenience without the close-in price tag. What really makes Brookline a neighborhood to watch is the people moving in. There has been a noticeable shift in recent years with younger professionals and families choosing Brookline specifically because they get the walkable neighborhood feel, the community events like the annual Halloween and Memorial Day parades, and the kind of neighbor-to-neighbor connection that is honestly getting harder and harder to find. Now, the housing stock is mostly older. Many homes were built in the 1900s, so you'll see those classic Pittsburgh brick homes, hardwood floors, and charming details. But just like any older neighborhood, you want to budget for potential updates for things like roofing, plumbing, and electrical. That's not a deal breaker. I review inspection reports in Brookline constantly, and the key is knowing what is typical for a 100-year-old Pittsburgh brick home versus what's a true red flag. It's just something that you have to plan for. For anyone relocating to Pittsburgh who wants that suburban community feel without actually living the city limits, Brookline is a name that you need to remember. All right, now let's cross the river to the north side because something big is happening in Manchester, and it's going to change the conversation about this part of the city. Manchester has one of the most beautiful collections of historic architecture in all of Pittsburgh. It's actually the city's largest historic district on the National Register of Historic Places. We are talking about late Victorian row homes with incredible craftsmanship, tree-lined streets, magazine-quality curb appeal, and prices that are still well below what you would pay in more established north side neighborhoods like the Mexican War Streets or Allegheny West. The median sales price for homes in Manchester has been around $172,000 in recent quarters, representing nearly a 95% appreciation over the past 5 years. That kind of growth tells you something. People are paying attention. Appreciation like that doesn't happen by accident. It happens when long-term infrastructure investment meets early buyer confidence. But here's the real story, the Esplanade project. This is a $740 million mixed-use development happening right next door in the Chateau neighborhood, and it will completely transform Manchester's position in the city. According to the Piatt companies, the developers behind the project, the Esplanade project will turn roughly 15 acres of old industrial land along the Ohio River into a vibrant new waterfront community with apartments, condos, shops, restaurants, entertainment, and public green space. Pre-sale for condominiums is expected to begin in 2026. Construction in the site actually started in 2025, and the economic tool being used to fund part of this is called Transit Revitalization Investment District, or TRID. What that means is a portion of the new tax revenue generated by the Esplanade project will be reinvested right back into the Manchester neighborhood for things like affordable housing, infrastructure improvements, and transit upgrades. That's a big deal. According to the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh, the Esplanade project will unlock new investments specifically in Manchester, support critical public infrastructure, and create jobs. And there's also a federal initiative working to reconnect Manchester and Chateau, two neighborhoods that were divided decades ago by construction of an elevated highway. That reconnection effort, funded in part by a $1.4 million Reconnection Communities grant, could restore pedestrian access and economic connectivity that has been missing for over 50 years. So when you pull it all together, you have historic homes at accessible prices, a massive development next door that will bring amenities and attention, and community investment flowing in from multiple directions. Manchester is not just a neighborhood to watch, it's a neighborhood that could look very different in just a few years. So let me pause here for a second. We have already covered 3 neighborhoods where change is really happening, where data shows growth, and where buyers who move early stand to benefit the most. And we're not done yet. The next 2 neighborhoods I'm going to show you are connected to some of the biggest development projects happening anywhere in Pittsburgh. One of them involves hundreds of millions of dollars in federal investment, and the other is a small borough that is becoming the go-to alternative for people who are priced out of Lawrenceville. But before we get there, if you're seriously thinking about relocating to the Pittsburgh area, my team and I have put together the ultimate Pittsburgh relocation guide. It's packed with information on top employers, the best hospitals, school districts, cost of living breakdowns, and neighborhood overviews that will save you hours of research. And the best part? It's completely free. Just click the link in the description or the top pinned comment, grab your copy so that you have it as a resource while you plan your move. And if you're wondering whether these kinds of strategies actually work, take a look at our Google reviews. Many of the families and investors that we have worked with moved early in neighborhoods just like these. Now, let's keep going. Okay, this one is really close to my heart because the Hill District represents something powerful. When you walk through parts of the Hill today, you can feel that something is shifting. It's not hype, it's long-term planning finally getting traction. It's a neighborhood that has been through decades of disinvestment, and now it's in the middle of one of the most significant community-led revitalization efforts in the country. The Hill District sits just east of downtown Pittsburgh, between the Golden Triangle and Oakland, which is the city's university hub. Its location alone makes it one of the most strategically positioned neighborhoods in the metro area. You're minutes from downtown, minutes from UPMC and the University of Pittsburgh, and you have direct access to major corridors like Fifth Avenue and Center Avenue. And the investment flowing in right now is enormous. In 2023, the Housing Authority of the City of Pittsburgh received a $50 million Choice Neighborhoods Implementation Grant from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to redevelop Bedford dwellings. It's the city's oldest public housing complex. According to Next Pittsburgh, the first new housing structure, the Reed, opened at Reed Street in October of 2025. And in 2026, 2 more major sites are expected to move forward. The city's Edge apartment building is expected to open in September or October of this year, and the Bedford Dwellings Phase 2 project will be in active construction throughout most of 2026. When all phases are complete, the plan calls for replacing original 411 public housing units and adding over 400 new units of mixed income housing. This is not just building apartments, this is rebuilding a community with a build first, move once strategy designed to maximize or minimize displacement of existing residents. Now, here is why this matters if you are really a home buyer or investor. According to Zillow, the average home value in the Upper Hill currently sits around $136,000. Crawford Roberts, another section of the Hill, sits around $224,000. These are some of the most affordable entry points that you'll find this close to downtown Pittsburgh. According to the Pittsburgh Real Estate Market Update for Q3 2025, neighborhoods near major redevelopment projects like the Hill District, Hazelwood Green, and Garfield are seeing renewed buyer interest. The report significantly notes that these areas benefit from infrastructure investment, new mixed-use developments, and proximity to job hubs. But I want to be straightforward with you. The Hill District is a neighborhood in the early stages of transformation. The full vision will take years to complete. If you buy here, you're buying into potential. You're buying into a long game. And that's not right for everyone. But for buyers with patience and vision, opportunity is real, especially given the sheer scale of investment that's already in motion. Last, but definitely not least, let's talk about a place that's not technically a Pittsburgh neighborhood, but it's so close that it might as well be. I'm talking about Etna. Etna is a small borough just north of the Allegheny River. It borders Sharpsburg and Millville and sits right across the water from neighborhoods like Lawrenceville and Highland Park. That proximity is exactly what's making Etna one of the most interesting real estate stories in the region right now. Buyers who love the energy of Lawrenceville but can't justify the price are crossing the bridge and realizing that they can still get in close to the action without stretching their budget to the breaking point. Here's the deal. According to Zillow, the average home value in Etna is around $148,000. Now think about that for a second. Across the river in Highland Park, you're looking at an average close to $485,000, and in central Lawrenceville, it's around $362,000. Etna gives you a fraction of that price point with a similar urban feel, especially in the lower part of the borough. Lower Etna has a walkable downtown with a growing mix of new businesses along old Pittsburgh staples. Startup breweries are sitting across the street from classic neighborhood dive bars. New restaurants are popping up. The borough has invested in streetscape improvements, new sidewalks, and signage that gives the area its own distinct identity. As one local urban planner put it, Etna is in the rebirth phase, and that is arguably the most exciting phase for both residents and buyers. And there's new housing happening here too. According to Next Pittsburgh, in 2025, the City of Bridges Community Land Trust and Module broke ground on 3 zero-energy-ready standard homes in Etna priced at just $147,000 each. 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths, energy-efficient construction. That kind of price point for new construction is almost unheard of close to the city. Now, Etna is a separate municipality from Pittsburgh, which means it has its own tax structure and its own school district. That's something to factor into your decision. And the housing stock is largely older and more modest than you would find in some of the city's trendier neighborhoods. But for first-time buyers, for people who got priced out of Lawrenceville or Highland Park, or for investors who are looking for strong demand in an area where with an ascending market, Etna makes a whole lot of sense. The best time to buy in Etna was probably 2 years ago. The second best time, right now, before the rest of the market catches on. All right, let's bring it all together. We just went through 5 neighborhoods that I believe represent the best up-and-coming opportunities for home buyers in the Pittsburgh market heading into 2026. Garfield is positioned between 2 of the city's hottest neighborhoods with a median price that is still significantly lower, and real development is underway along the Penn Avenue corridor. Brookline offers a walkable, community-driven lifestyle in the South Hills with a median home price that makes homeownership genuinely accessible for first-time homebuyers. Manchester has some of the most stunning historic architecture in the city, and the $740 million Esplanade project next door is about to put this neighborhood on the map in a completely new way. The Hill District is receiving hundreds of millions of dollars in investment through the Bedford Dwellings redevelopment, and its central location between downtown and Oakland makes it a long-term play with serious upside. And Etna, this small borough across the river, is emerging as the affordable alternative for buyers who love the energy of Lawrenceville and Highland Park, but need a more accessible price. According to multiple market analysis, Pittsburgh home prices are expected to grow at a steady 3 to 5% annually through 2026. That's sustainable, manageable growth, not a bubble. And in these 5 neighborhoods where investment is actively flowing and prices are still below city averages, the potential to build equity over time is especially strong. The key takeaway is this: Pittsburgh has 90 neighborhoods, and each one is its own micro market. The buyers who do best here are the ones who take the time to understand where things are heading, not just where things have already been. Pittsburgh rewards patience and positioning. It always has. If you're thinking about making a move to Pittsburgh and want help figuring out which neighborhood is the right fit for your goals, your budget, and your lifestyle, reach out to me directly. Whether you're relocating from out of state or simply trying to stay ahead of the next wave inside the city, having someone who understands these micro markets makes a measurable difference. My contact information is right below this video. I would love to help you navigate this market and find the home that is right for you. And if you have not grabbed it yet, make sure that you download my free Pittsburgh relocation guide. It covers the neighborhoods, cost of living, top employers, school districts, and everything else you need to make a smart, informed decision before you start packing. The link is in the description and the top pinned comment. Now, when you're done here, go watch my next video, The Truth About Cost of Living in Pennsylvania for 2026. I break down the real numbers on housing, taxes, utilities, and everyday expenses so that you know exactly what to expect. I will link it right here for you to see. See you there.